If I were starting my investing journey in 2026, zero investments, and I need to build wealth, I'll do things a bit differently. In this video today, I'm going to walk you through the steps, the exact steps that I will take, knowing what I know today if I were starting fresh. So let's get straight into it. Step number one, I will get my financial house in order. And what do I mean by this? Before I start investing, before I invest a single pound or a single naira, I'll make sure my foundation was solid. There are certain things that I would put in place, and this is very important. So the first one, I would have a simple budget which tells me where my money is going. I'll relook all my expenses and know what percentage I can set aside for my monthly investment. This is because for me, it's never going to be as the spirit leads, as it was for me in the past when I first started. So being clear about my income and expenses will help me know how much I can realistically commit to investing on a monthly basis. My goal would be 10 to 20% of my income, which is the recommended percentage for both savings and investment. But if all I can do now is 2% or 5%, I'll do it and I'll work my way up from that. Secondly, I will make sure I have an emergency fund in place. Without this, I wouldn't start investing. Even if it is small, even if it is, say, £1,000 or 2 million naira, I would have this set aside in a high yield savings account. And this will prevent me from selling my investments in case of emergencies. You see, when emergencies happen, it may be at a time when the stock market is down. And this would mean pulling out less than I invested. So it would be very important that I have some money for emergencies set aside, and I can work my way up to 6 months of my living expenses. I continue to top up my emergency fund. But not having an emergency fund and investing would be a mistake. The third thing I would do to put my house in order is that if I have high interest debt, I'll put it under control by creating, a clear repayment plan and structure before I begin my investing journey. Imagine earning 20% returns on my investment while paying 30% interest on my debt. That's counterintuitive. I'll be losing more money than I am making, effectively bleeding out more cash than building wealth. These three things are important because investing works best when we are not constantly under that pressure, when we are not constantly putting out financial fires. If you are investing, then withdrawing, then investing, then withdrawing, you're working against the power of compounding. Instead of your money, growing steadily over time, you're interrupting, the process that builds wealth, that builds long-term wealth. So after putting my house in order, the second thing I would do is I'll decide how to allocate my investments. Now that I know how much money, how much of my income I can invest monthly, I'll decide how do I want to allocate it. I have some immigrant members of my coaching community who are still not sure about whether they want to invest back in their own country, say Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, anywhere. My advice always is to diversify across markets. I have people based in Nigeria, for example, and they're investing in Nigeria and also investing in global markets. So if I were starting in 2026, I'll put a percentage of my money in the Nigerian stock market and put some in the US market and some in the world market. Again, I won't do this as the spirit leads. This would depend on my investment strategy. So let's say from my first exercise, I'm willing to invest £500 monthly. I will put 30% of this in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. I'll put 70% in other markets. And my goal for the Nigerian Stock Exchange is primarily dividends. And this might differ per person, depending on your investment goals and also your risk appetite. Okay, so number 3, I'll keep my investment very simple. I would invest in an ETF. An ETF is a collection or a basket of stocks. Instead of individual stocks, it's a group of stocks. So instead of picking Nvidia, Amazon, I'll be buying into a broad market. For example, in Nigeria, there are ETFs like Lotus allocate ETF, Lotus 15, and Stanbic IBTC ETF 30. To invest, I will need a brokerage platform. This is a platform I will use to buy and sell my investments. So in Nigeria, I will consider Stanbic IBTC, Meristem Securities, Bamboo, or Cardinal Stone. Of course, I'll do my research before choosing one. In the UK, I would explore platforms like Trading 212, Invest Engine, AJ Bell, Hargreaves Lansdown. Again, I'll do my research before choosing. When choosing a platform, I'll focus on platform fees, ease of use, and availability of a wide range of ETFs. And now when it comes to choosing the ETF itself that I will be investing in, one key thing I will look at is the expense ratio. Expense ratio is the annual fees charged by the ETF to cover management and operating costs. It is often expressed as a percentage of your investment and it is deducted automatically, so it quietly just reduces your returns over time. The lower the expense ratio, the better. For example, Vanguard S&P 500 ETF has an expense ratio of 0.03%. SPDR S&P 500 has 0.0945, and they both track the same index and one is cheaper. And you see that difference matters over a long period of time. Again, I'm not recommending ETFs here, I'm just giving an example. Another thing I'll look at is the liquidity. How easily can I buy and sell my ETF? It means how frequently is the ETF traded. I don't want to be stuck with something I cannot sell when I need to. So I will check the daily trading volume. The higher it is, the easier it is to find a buyer when I want to sell. So instead of picking an individual stock like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, like I did years back, if I were starting in 2026 without a coach, without guidance, I'll keep it really simple and I will buy a basket of stocks, which is an ETF. It is always the safest and the smartest way to start. If you want to know more things about ETF, that most people don't even talk about enough, I have a video on this and I'll link it here. So step number 4, I will stick to 3 ETFs max. I'll keep my portfolio really simple. Nothing more than 3 ETFs. I've seen people hold too many ETFs. And sometimes they forget that there is something called ETF overlap. For example, if you have 3 ETFs, VU, VUSA, SPY, that's not diversification. You're duplicating because they all track the same index, S&P 500 companies. So while it doesn't necessarily harm your returns, it doesn't improve them either. You're just repeating the same things. So if I were starting in 2026, I would avoid having duplication. So I would have one Nigerian ETF, one US ETF, one global ETF. That's it. And for my allocation, based on my own personal goals, I would do 30% Nigerian ETF, 30% US ETF, 40% global ETF. This would give me diversification. For example, a Nigerian ETF like Lotus Halal Equity ETF, it will give me exposure to top companies in Nigeria. The S&P 500 ETF will give me exposure to 500 of the largest companies in the United States. And a global ETF gives me exposure to multiple markets across the world like Japan, United Kingdom, Germany, and emerging markets. So instead of overcomplicating things, I would just stick to 3 ETFs. Okay, let's get to number 5. I will automate my investments. From day one, I wouldn't leave this to my willpower. I will set up a monthly direct debit into my investment platform. And as I said in step 1, this will be a fixed percentage of my income that I can comfortably afford. And this will be an automatic process, automatic purchases into any chosen ETFs. You see, when you automate the process, it removes emotions. It removes the need for discipline or the need for motivation. Your money just leaves your account every month and grows in the background. Another thing I would do is I would ignore the noise. The noise from, the market is dipping. All those scary headlines. Oh, it's happening. It's about to crash. It's about to... I would ignore all those, drama. People predicting crashes. Whatever happens, I just stick to my investment goals because I have invested right. You see, those that showed panic are those that have not invested right. I wouldn't panic. I would just stick to my goals. And I also wouldn't be checking my portfolio every day. I wouldn't panic when it drops. I wouldn't celebrate too early. I wouldn't celebrate when it rises. I would just check once a quarter or once in 6 months, review the entire portfolio, adjust it if needed, and then I keep going. So the last step, which is step 6, this is that bit that I love to add when I am talking investing. If I were investing for the first time in 2026, I wouldn't just focus only on investing because I know I cannot invest my way out of a low income. I would still continuously, aggressively look for alternative sources of income, active sources of income. You see, passive income Unless you start so early, like you're 18 or before 18, then you can be, when you get to like that 60, you can say, oh, I'm rich. But if you're starting late, it won't automatically make you rich. So you have to still focus on active sources of income. So I would consider upskilling, freelancing, certifications, anything that would improve my earning capability, and I would also consider side income streams. And this is because if I earn more and can increase my monthly investment by an extra, even if it is extra £200 consistently, then I can change my financial journey positively. So if I were starting to invest in 2026, those are the 6 steps I would follow. And if you're a Muslim like me and would like to know some halal ETFs to invest in, then you should see my next video, and I'll see you there.